you know, in Vancouver, Rory McDonald got beat for the first time in his career. He's the 20-year-old from Kelowna, British Columbia. But the interesting thing about him is at 14 years old, the first time he ever walked into a gym, he started training MMA. He wasn't a wrestler who became a puncher. He wasn't a puncher who became a jiu-jitsu guy, right. Which, of course, is not a bad thing. I mean, Randy was a wrestler, but now you are going to see these kids and these Renaissance fighters who the first time they enter the gym, they're going to train MMA. And because of that, they're going to, and Randy would be the first one to say it, they're going to be incredibly, well, just like any other sport. The hockey players of the 70s aren't the same as the hockey players now. So just like any other sport, they're going to evolve.
I've had 2 gyms. Wrestlers have bad habits. When I was a wrestler, and you know, you do exactly opposite what you're supposed to do in jiu-jitsu. So it takes a 6-month learning curve. If you have a really accomplished wrestler like a Lesnar, I mean, it took him 6 months to really learn how not to get in trouble when he fights Mir. You know, which you saw a big difference in his positioning in his jiu-jitsu, which you can learn, but it does take a little bit of time.
Matt Hughes used to talk about that there were certain areas that his opponent would give him an opening, but yet he wouldn't be able to take it, or he wouldn't be able to resist it. He'd go into wrestling mode because his entire life he's been shooting.
Because you're comfortable.
He's been shooting for the single, and there could be a wide open shot. You know, he could knock somebody out, but it was there, and he couldn't resist it. And for better or for worse, most of the times during his career, obviously it was for better, but yeah, you see the fighters being able to transition from the different martial arts much more effectively than they did, you know, in the years previous, and I've been here and kind of seen the evolution.
Long time. That's one thing about the early Gracie fights, like the very first UFC fights, they never had wrestlers in there.
No.
You know, Chuck and I put our applications in way back in the first ones, and they reject us every time.
Yeah. Well,
because they never wanted wrestlers in there.
Of course, and wrestling that had that stereotype of not being the most exciting sport in the world, and and that's why. But look what happened when we started to bring wrestlers in. Mark Coleman, Mark Kerr, you know, Randy Couture, Dan Severn. I mean, you can go on the list, especially of like the Colemans and the Randlemans and the Kerrs who were national wrestling champions, and then turned that into a UFC belt around their waist. And you know, you could see the dominance. But the pure wrestler now is at a disadvantage. Not at a disadvantage, but if you're just a pure wrestler, you're still going to get lit up. You're going to eat a knee on the way in, and you might find yourself, you know, looking up at the referee going, "What happened?" So
and there's not a lot of world-class wrestlers out there either that they come into. When they do, if they can make that adjustment, they can throw some punches and stuff. They have a good chance of doing well. So, but it's been interesting. The guy fighting Anderson Silva next he's
Chael's son.
Son
Kiss Kids, tough wrestler. Said he's going to put him on his back. I don't want to say what he said. But what did he say? I put him on his back like a porn star with a mortgage, I think was his line.
You can say that.
Okay, that was Chael's, one of his best lines. And he also said he doesn't understand why Anderson Silva bows. And this is Chael. He bows before every fight because he's Brazilian. He's not Thai.
Right.
He said if you bow in Brazil, somebody hit you in the head and take your wallet. So Chael's definitely been entertaining to say the least. Let's just see if he can hold up against a spider. It's not an easy challenge. I don't care what Anderson's done or this and that. The fact of the matter is he's still pound for pound the best in the world. And once you get in there, be careful what you wish for.
Is that what if you were to put a best on pound for pound?
When he's fighting, of course. Yeah, when he's fighting and he's going and he's engaging, you know, nobody's beat him. Nobody has a streak like that inside the octagon. So I gotta say, yes, you know, when he makes himself normal, he does. Nobody else has made him normal. Right. He's made himself normal. And yet he's never made himself beatable.
This is kind of probably a weird question for you, because I mean, but what about Fedor Emelianenko? I mean, I'm hearing the argument, you know, even Randy Couture, actually, Dan Hardy, they go with George St. Pierre. But how can people not put Fedor up there, because the guy's never lost?
Well, I think everybody in the world does put him up there. I just think that some people don't put him up at the very, very top because of, you know, and you can't even say the quality of competition because he's fought some of the best in the world. Right. There are some that he has not fought. Right. But I think you can say that about everybody. But I think you do. I mean, you know, previous to the defeat to Frankie Edgar, you had BJ, but you got a GSP, Anderson Silva, Fedor, all in the same breath all the time. I think that's the great argument. And on any given day, each one can be the greatest. You know, I just think when you look at what Anderson has done and what he's capable of doing, I think that's why some people give him the nod.
But he has a lot of losses. I mean,
absolutely, yeah.
With the way he's developed into, I mean, I think it's definitely a good argument.
You know,
either one of those three.
They always say that Randy would be the first to say no such thing as an undefeated fighter, and if you are, then you haven't met your match yet, and he's out there somewhere waiting for you, salivating, you know, waiting for you to get in the cage.
Yeah, well, hopefully Fedor will be in a fight when he fights Verdum, because Verdum's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely, you know, and got a skill set that is scary for anybody if he can turn it into his world and, you know, put on the JIT show, and, you know, so we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I think it'll be interesting to see what Fedor does in the future. Obviously, we'd love to have him in the UFC, and, you know, someday we may very well see that.
That'd be awesome. Hey, thanks. Thanks for trying out Randy's stuff.
You know what, XCAPs is for real, and I got to tell you, and I know you've talked about it, and when we talked about it earlier, Chris, it's for real. And the cool thing is it's tailored obviously to the Randy Coutures of the world, to those great athletes, but it's also tailored to the normal people, you know, who have a job, who travel a lot, who get run down, who want to get quality workouts, and just want to have a better quality of life. That's what it's about, and it's affordable. The protocol is easy, and you know, just get yourself a big glass of water, take your supplements in the morning, and you feel good because you're putting good things in your body. You're not putting bad things in your body.
What's funny is that it's the same price as the stuff that you buy that you get at the warehouses or whatever, but the quality because it goes through a facility that's FDA actually approved, not just when they say it's FDA grade, that you never know what you're really putting in your body. It's a big difference. So.
And it's made for you, as you know. It's a protocol that's made for you. So you get your blood test. That's important. Get your blood test. If you have a chance to do the food sensitivity, do that. That's a different thing, but still kind of what we're doing at XCAPs. Get your blood work, find out where you're deficient, get the right supplements in you, and start feeling better. It's as simple as that.
You can look buff and everything and still be like an 80-year-old lady and then get fixed. So now I feel better, yeah.
80 years old.
Thanks, bro.
Thanks.